Hello, and thank you for another episode of the Nezzy's Place podcast. I am your host, Vanessa Davis, and this is a place of motivation, encouragement, inspiration, talking about real topics, real issues with real people. Thank you so much for joining in, and if you get a minute, just click and share and let someone know that Nezzy's Place is on the air. Today, I am super excited because I have a special guest in the studio today. Her name is Brenda Gauntlett. Brenda is the executive director with Legal Shield. Legal Shield is a company that provides identity theft and legal services to families, individuals, and business. Welcome to the podcast, Brenda.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. I'm delighted to be on your show today.
Great. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad that this topic is so important. And I think people really need to understand the importance of getting a Legal Shield membership. So why do you feel it's important for people to have a membership?
Well, first of all, it's important because one of the most powerful services that Legal Shield offers is getting a will done, healthcare directive, and a living will. And we know so many people, especially people of our color, are passing away. They don't have their things in order. They don't have their will prepared. And then that can cause a lot of problems within the family. And so it's so important. And that's one service that especially people don't like to discuss. Mm-hmm. But we have to prepare. And that's one thing, one feature of the service that really is beneficial to families.
Yes, it is. And there's also another side, which is identity theft.
Which is the fastest growing crime. And people always say, well, I don't have anything, or, I don't really, have any income or whatever. However, it's important because identity theft is the fastest growing crime.
Yeah.
Not just dealing with your banking. What about Social Security identity theft? Medical is on the rise, where people are compromising people's medical identification number, getting medication under their names. There's criminal, okay, people committing crimes, and driver's license. So when you think about it, banking is only 17%. And a lot of the identity theft is done from inside your banks, your Social Security offices, your credit union. And look at IRS that was just hit.
Yes.
I mean, they have all of our information. To be honest, Vanessa, they can find you under a rock.
They can. And it's really sad because we think we're safe.
Right.
And then you have the deep dark web or something that they call it.
Web, right.
Yeah, and then people don't understand how they're getting our information and using it.
Matter of fact, when I lived in California, you could go downtown Los Angeles, you live there, and you could buy a driver's license downtown for $20 or $25. And that's someone else's information.
Wow.
So it's important to be proactive, to be in place, to have things in place before something happens. Because if you don't have an identity theft program that's strong enough to restore your level of credibility, then what happens is that you just leave yourself wide open. You're looking at thousands of dollars to restore this identity that someone else has compromised. And it doesn't have to be in the state where you live. It could be nationwide.
Right. Well, I just want to hear from you as far as something personal that happened to you. Mm-hmm. Do you have something that you would like to share? Anything that happened as far as how you use the services, or maybe you encountered identity theft situation? What would you like to share so people know that this does work?
Right.
I have encountered some things that happened to me. I was able to call an attorney, and it's great to know that after 30 minutes of having a conversation with an attorney, I'm not going to get a bill in the mail.
Absolutely.
So when I tell someone I'm going to call my attorney, I mean I'm going to call my attorney.
Absolutely.
I'm not just talking fluff in the air.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit about your experience. Share a little bit about that.
Well, the first time I used it several years ago, I was leasing some property in California, and when I decided to move, the management company did not want to return my $550 security deposit. So they kept giving me the runaround, and we know how that happens, And so when I called the attorney, they wrote one letter demanding that my security deposit be returned. And within 2 to 3 weeks, I got a check in the mail for the $550.
Tell me about it.
And so people deal with that a lot. People withholding their security deposit based on just frivolous things. Right. But really, you're entitled to get that legally, especially if you leave the apartment in a very, well kept and
situation. Right. So, yeah, and I understand because I hear people wanting the business after something happens. Like
Right.
maybe they encounter that issue, maybe they buy something, or maybe, something happens with their children, and then all of a sudden they'll call and say, hey, are you still doing that legal thing?
Right.
And I'm like, well, yes,
Right.
I am, but, be proactive. Get
Right.
it? Do like you do with your HMOs, like you said, and
Right.
your health insurance and your auto insurance and
right.
all the other services that we have, just in case something happens.
Right.
Well, that is important. Anything else?
Sure, absolutely. When you talk about that, families, what about, our children being racially profiled? And a lot of that could be avoided if that child or that person had access to the legal system. So when they're pulled over, what could be just a traffic stop now can turn to a nightmare because you don't have access to an attorney. What if you were able to push a button on your cell phone, on an app, and be able to reach an attorney when that officer comes to your window, and now you have your attorney on the phone on speaker? Maybe some of these situations that have happened to our children getting killed out in the community and being stopped just for frivolous things. I mean, sometimes a stop could turn to a death, and we know we hear it on the news every day.
Every single day. And when parents have children who drive, it is important that they have the service because they have an app, and it's 24 hours.
24 hours a day, weekends, holidays, a lot of things happen on the weekends. And
2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock. And usually Friday night is when things happen. So what happens, that child is taken to jail if they don't have a legal plan, and that child's staying in jail over the weekend because the courts don't open until Monday morning.
Exactly. And if they had an attorney
they could
to call right away,
right.
they wouldn't.
So we're trying to empower the community to be, like you said, proactive, not to wait for something to happen, but be ahead of a situation and take care of those situations that can arise in your life.
Great. So do you also give presentations to churches as well?
Yes, matter of fact, we have a couple of churches. We're doing workshops, free workshops. We can provide the donuts and coffee on a Saturday morning.
Okay, you guys heard that, right? Donuts and coffee.
And, come out. If you have a pastor or a church that's willing to have us come in, we'd be more than happy to come in and show you how to get your will started, talk to you about the importance of that, and really show you the power of the service.
Yes, it is. I want you guys to know there is power in the service, and you do feel empowered when you have a card in your wallet that says Legal Shield. And when you also have the app on your phone, you feel covered and you feel protected because you have access to an attorney 24/7. Any type of an emergency, you can call. Child Protective Services issues, right. Things like that. Maybe you have a tax issue, you can always make a phone call. So you can definitely benefit from the service.
Right, you said that because the card does say on the back of it to the officer, if it's your intention to question, detain, or arrest me, please allow me an opportunity to call my attorney. And that's the statement on the back of your membership card.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just need you to know that this is a service that is needed. And if you are a parent, you have a business, anything, beauty shop owners, daycare providers, any kind of business, you should definitely think about getting the business plan. And if you have children that are driving, you definitely want that. Even if you are individual, take advantage of this service. Get your will done. Get your healthcare proxy done. As you acquire assets, you can always change your will. But that is a love letter to our families,
Yes,
and we don't take that serious. I don't believe we do. And so, in tying up the show today, would you like to leave your information on how people can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. You can give me a call at my direct office number, which is area code 585-321-0351, 585-321-0351. I'd love to chat with you and show you how you can also be empowered.
Great. Well, that's it for the show today, guys. Tune in next Tuesday for another positive and inspirational show. And remember, like I always say, it's your house, your life, and your rules. Stay positive. Until next week, ciao Bella. Have a great one.